The dialogue between the Athenian generals Cleomedes and Tisias and the magistrates of the island state of Melos is one of the high points of Thucydides' history and the climax of his realism. Melos was a Spartan colony, and its people had therefore refused to be subject, as the rest of the islands were, unto the Athenians, but rested at first neutral, and afterwards, when the Athenians put them to it by wasting of their lands, they entered into open war. This is a classic account of aggression, for to commit aggression is simply to put people to it, as Thucydides describes. But such a description, he seems to say, is merely external. He wants to show us the inner meaning of war. His spokesmen are the two Athenian generals who demand a parley and then speak as generals have rarely done in military history. Let us have no fine words about justice, they say. We, for our part, will not pretend that, having defeated the Persians, our empire is deserved. You must not claim that, having done no injury to the Athenian people, you have a right to be let alone. We will talk instead of what is feasible and what is necessary. For this is what war is really like. They that have odds of power exact as much as they can, and the weak yield to such conditions as they can get. It is not only the Melians here who bear the burdens of necessity. The Athenians are driven too. They must expand their empire. Cleomedes and Tisias believe, or lose what they already have. The neutrality of Melos will be an argument for our weakness and your hatred of our power among those we have rule over. It will inspire rebellion throughout the islands, wherever men and women are offended with the necessity of subjection. And what subject is not offended, eager for freedom, resentful of his conquerors? When the Athenian generals say that men will everywhere reign over such as they be too strong for, they are not only describing the desire for glory and command, but also the more narrow necessity of interstate politics, reign or be subject. If they do not conquer when they can, they only reveal weakness and invite attack, and so, by a necessity of nature, a phrase Hobbes later made his own, they conquer when they can. The Melians, on the other hand, are too weak to conquer. They face a harsher necessity, yield or be destroyed. For you have not in hand a match of valor upon equal terms, but rather a consultation upon your safety. The rulers of Melos, however, value freedom above safety. If you then, to retain your command, and your vassals to get loose from you, will undergo the utmost danger, would it not in us, that be already free, be great baseness and cowardice, if we should not encounter anything whatsoever, rather than suffer ourselves to be brought into bondage? Though they know that it will be a hard matter to stand against the power and fortune of Athens, nevertheless we believe that for fortune we shall be nothing inferior, as having the gods on our side, because we stand innocent against men unjust. And as for power, they hope for assistance from the Spartans, who are of necessity obliged, if for no other cause, yet for consanguinity's sake and for their own honor to defend us. But the gods too reign where they can, reply the Athenian generals, and consanguinity and honor have nothing to do with necessity. The Spartans will necessarily think only of themselves. Most apparently of all men, they hold for honorable that which pleaseth, and for just that which profiteth. So the argument ended. The magistrates refused to surrender. The Athenians laid siege to their city. The Spartans sent no help. Finally, after some months of fighting, in the winter of 416 SC, Melos was betrayed by several of its citizens. When further resistance seemed impossible, the Melians yielded themselves to the discretion of the Athenians, who slew all the men of military age, made slaves of the women and children, and inhabited the place, with a colony sent thither afterwards of 500 men of their own.